Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Abergavenny Market Hall for a night of professional boxing brought to you by ADVERTS in association with Ciaran and also brought to you by the British Boxing Board of Control, your student in charge, Mr. CARVELL. This is Gething versus Yaxley. Abergavenny, make some noise! Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome your first fighter into the ring from Spain, BERMAN, SANCHEZ. And now would you please welcome his opponents from Cardiff, CARVELL, CROCKER. Ladies and gentlemen, we're playing in association with Ciaran represents all freaking rounds in the super welterweight division. Introducing first in the red corner with the black shorts, weighing at 156 pounds. Entering the ring for the 81st time from Spain by way of Costa Rica, BERMAN SANCHEZ. And his opponent in the blue corner, also wearing the black shorts, weighing at 157 pounds. Fighting now Cardiff, CARVELL, CROCKER.
So this is a 4-round super welterweight contest between CARVELL CROCKER in the black sparkly shorts with Guy Rocket in the corner, and BERMAN SANCHEZ in the black shorts with the WBC logos. Here we go, round one. And your commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and Dewi Powell of KO Cymru. CROCKER, the taller of the two fighters.
Already seeing that natural size advantage for him, Ciaran. Pushing Sanchez back and keeping him there as well.
Yeah, holding the centre of the ring well in his opening moments of this contest. I'm sure that's what his trainer Guy Rocket will be telling him in the pre-fight instructions.
It's good to see CARVELL back in the ring so soon as well. Just 2 weeks ago, having his third professional fight, and here he's having his fourth already. Fast,
impressive combinations. I mean, that's the thing probably with with guys when they turn pro, they expect to be fighting all the time, and quite often it's months in between contests.
Yeah, and it's quite a gear shift then from when they were amateurs, and it was every other week or every other couple of weeks, and you can quite quickly lose momentum like that. But CARVELL, I think, since his debut, he's taken to the pros like a duck to water. I know he's come with the endorsement to Gary from Joe Cortina, so in Welsh boxing it doesn't get much better endorsement than that. And yeah, like I say, he's taken a duck to water, sparring Leon Williams often, and I know he's impressing in the gym, and doing the same again here tonight so far.
Yeah, he's looking really good so far against this experienced Costa Rican. Sanchez having his 81st contest this evening.
He's having his 14th fight of just this year as well, so he's a busy boy.
Knows his way around the boxing ring for sure. Interesting, he's got the WBC logo on his shorts. Is he hoping to get a ranking with them or something after this, do you think?
Possibly. He's got a good history back, before he settled into this sort of away corner role that he fulfills now. He fought Miguel Burchelt and Jorge Linares, so much like the weight divisions. I think that was super featherweight and lightweight, but he was a contender once upon a time, if you like. Probably far from those days now, but I think he's one of those. If you put it on, he won't just tuck up and run away. He'll give you a little reminder back, just to say, don't take your liberties. I am capable. We've seen that there with that left swing, but CARVELL slightly overwhelming him when he extends those combinations.
Tonight's boxing taking place in the Market Hall here in Abergavenny. An unusual venue for pro boxing, I think most people would agree.
Certainly one for the summer, I think, isn't it? Couldn't imagine being in here in the winter.
Interesting first round. Very good boxing. So into the second round of this super welterweight contest. A very impressive first round from CROCKER. Fast combinations, working to head and body. I mean, what would Gary Lockett have told CROCKER in between the rounds, do you think there, Dewi?
I think he would have told him just to keep his shape, keep it long and keep it strong. I think CARVELL's got very good fundamentals. You see, he's got a quick, fast, snappy jab. Would have learned that with Splot Amateur Boxing Club with Pat Mahoney and James Mazigala. So I think Gary will just reinforce those fundamentals.
A couple of really good body shots there as well from CROCKER.
And it's a big old ring they've got to play with tonight, Ciaran, but they're not really using it, are they? They're really a metre away from each other here.
Yeah, Sanchez looks like the type of guy in his prime he'd probably be happy to stand and trade. I mean, he's trying to just use head movement to try and avoid most of the shots rather than his feet. Oh, big swinging right hook from Sanchez.
Yeah, they were the shots I mentioned earlier, those reminders, just to try and keep CARVELL honest so he doesn't get too carried away. And in fairness, he's not so far. He's pacing it quite nicely.
I mean, this is the conundrum, if you like, for Young. There's that right hand again from Sanchez. CROCKER replied.
Yeah, returned with interest.
Interestingly, Sanchez now seems happy to punch with CROCKER.
Yeah, he's picking his spots, isn't he? He's waiting until CROCKER's shots are flowing. And especially with that left hook we just saw there, you don't want to get trading left hooks with the South American.
Sanchez's record going into this fight, 30 wins, 46 defeats and the 4 draws. Sanchez blocking a lot of these shots though now with his hands, his high guard.
And we've seen he does these rounds quite comfortably. He's been to Worlds before to box Lloyd Germain and Ben CROCKER and boxers like that, and nobody, they do tend to beat him convincingly, but nobody runs him over. You can see there's a, although out of his probably natural weight class, there is a bit, he's a bit tasty when he lets his hands go. CARVELL just navigating that.
Yeah, it's really impressive from CARVELL. As I was saying earlier, before the action heated up a little bit, it's difficult for a prospect how much pressure you put on these journeymen, because like you said, most of them don't get stopped. And do you coast to a points victory, or do you try and force a stoppage and look impressive? It's a difficult balance to find sometimes. So into the second half of this 4-round contest, and I'm pleased to bring onto the commentary Richie Garner, trainer and manager. What do you think of CARVELL CROCKER's performance so far, Richie?
Looks very crisp behind the jab. You can see that CARVELL is very measured in his approach. BERMAN SANCHEZ, very tricky journeyman insofar as he knows how to control the pocket. He moves in and out very well. He slides with the punches. He takes all the venom out of CARVELL's punches, and you can see that Daryl quite animated in the corner. No doubt he's given his instructions, and I'm sure that what he'll want to see from CARVELL is perhaps more shots to the body, try to bring those hands down, and straight away there you see that CROCKER has thrown a lovely right hand and driven SANCHEZ across the ring. He's working very well. He's very correct in everything that he does, and you can see now SANCHEZ's hands are dropping just a little bit. He scored with a massive left hook there. SANCHEZ having a little bit of a moan, which is always the first signs of distress.
As a trainer, Rich, what stage do you tell your fighter to try and kick on and try and get a stoppage, or do you think you should just be content to score the points victory?
Well, against an experienced guy like SANCHEZ, if you can get the stoppage, then that's absolutely fantastic. But he's not the type of fighter that gets stopped very often, and he just rolls with the punches so well. He slides away from the punches. He rides those shots. So what I would be telling my fighter to do is just remain patient. Don't do anything silly, because every now and again you'll see a fighter like SANCHEZ will just spring off the ropes, come in with a big left hook, and it's not unusual for a fighter to spring an upset when, of course, you can be complacent, and it's more a case of being patient, taking your time, and picking your shots. I like the way the CROCKER's closing the distance now and working more inside. He's working some uppercuts now, and you can see that SANCHEZ's head is getting lifted. But bear in mind, I appreciate that SANCHEZ's wins have mostly come outside of this country, but he does still have 30 wins on his record.
Yeah, SANCHEZ's last victory was back in May 2022 in Argentina, as Richie was saying, they're on the road, or not in the UK at least.
Lovely right hook there from CROCKER. Like I said, it's about being patient, it's about working the body, trying to bring the hands down, and if you get an opportunity, then wonderful. You can see that SANCHEZ now is leaning into the shots, coming over the front foot a little bit, protecting the body a little bit more, and that's perhaps why CROCKER's ripping those uppercuts through the middle. Looking for a bit of space there. Lovely left right, pushes SANCHEZ back. SANCHEZ has to come back with a jab. He's got to try to be a bit more honest now, throw a little bit more just to keep CROCKER off him perhaps. Slipping CROCKER's jab, coming back with a jab of his own, but again, CROCKER just looking with the left right. You can see there when CROCKER fell in a little bit, SANCHEZ comes back up. He's a shorter fighter, comes up with the head. You've also got to watch very carefully in respect of clashes of heads and any accidental injuries. You don't want your fighter getting cut and hurt, which could have a long-term detrimental effect to him.
Thank you, Richie. A touch of gloves and show respect between the two boxers before the fourth and final round. Referee Chris Jones from Swansea will be the scoring official should the contest go the distance. Fairly sure he's got CROCKER winning every round so far. Oh, lovely left hook to the body and switching up to the head from Crocker.
I think Crocker feels quite comfortable there now, Ciaran. Just seen him squeeze up his guard and almost walk forward without much of a jab to get there.
He goes well to the body, doesn't he, Crocker?
Yeah, and he goes both sides as well. It's not, you often see an orthodox fighter might favour a left hook to the body, but Crocker makes sure that he goes to both sides and he doubles up too.
And there's that right hook to the body again, Dewi was just mentioning.
This is interesting, but this is where he's able to practice things maybe in the fight that you might not come across very often. The chance with a journeyman to stand up close. They might hold, they might turn you around, they might mess you around just to kill the clock and do their job on the night. But Sanchez is giving Crocker opportunities to work on what he does up close as well.
And of course all boxers say as well, even though you can try certain things in sparring, it is never quite the same when you're in the ring in a contest with a big crowd.
Yeah, and that's the experience part, isn't it? Crocker would have gone through the process of making a weight, not a championship weight, but a weight for this. He would have wrapped his hands and then put on small gloves. All that will, all those experiences are something to take from every fight. And if you can learn one lesson for every development fight that you have, then that's progress. And we often see boxers, especially on the small hall scene in Wales, potentially have too many of these. But I think the way what Crocker's shown us in his 4 fights as a pro so far is that maybe with another 4 he could be ready for something like a Welsh title by then.
It's impressive, the controlled aggression from Crocker. And there's those body shots we were talking about again, doubling up on them.
Never really got carried away though, Ciaran, when he's had success there. He's not poured under pressure relentlessly. He still stayed quite composed, kept his shape and reset to go again.
And also he just glided out of range when Sanchez loaded up with a big hook. Just out of range to avoid the punch, but not out of range to fire back with shots of his own. Last few moments of the contest, and it's been an impressive contest for Crocker from Cardiff. I'm sure he learned a lot from that.
Ladies and gentlemen, all runners of action, we go to the judges' corner. Chris Jones has it for the 36. For your winner and still undefeated CARVELL, CROCKER!
I do want to say a massive thank you to someone who has been on the posters and I've tagged in different posts but not said much about, and that is the MBF charity, the Mahedi Bousfia Foundation. Runs disaster relief and charity projects all over the world, and their latest project is to help impoverished children here in Wales, which is why I'm so happy that they're supporting the event and giving me the opportunity to box for such a big title and put on such a big show in my hometown. But if you can take a look at their website and off their Instagram page, which I will tag, it's more than just about boxing, them being involved with us. It's about spreading a message, and we want to help people all over the world. But for me personally, I'll be sort of monitoring the project here in South Wales. We'll be looking after children in the area that aren't getting the right education or aren't getting the right nutrition, and any pennies that you can put in towards helping the Mahedi Bousfia Foundation to grow and to network and to get better is going to be massive for us. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in association with Shadow Boxers for the rounds in the light heavyweight division. The division first in the red corner, the black and silver, weighing in at 175 pounds. Entering the ring for the 121st time from Middleton, DARYL and is fighting the blue corner, the red, green and white, weighing in at 174 pounds. Each man one and no defeats from Port Talent, Abergavenny.
So this light heavyweight contest between Aaron Bird in the red and green shorts and the very experienced, to put it mildly, DARYL Sharp in the black and grey shorts, or black and silver.
Absolutely, DARYL Sharp, kind of a throwback journeyman in the same sort of guise as Christian Late. A bit closer. You know, vastly experienced, as you say. Comes straight out, looking to throw and looking to put Bird in his place straight off. Very aggressive, southpaw stance.
I watched DARYL Sharp box quite a few times over the last 6 months. I've noticed he has a go in the first round. He actually was in this very ring against the last show here. He against Mark Jones, was it? He put a he put a real effort up to try and cause the upset early on, setting traps.
Just glancing right hook there to Bird's jaw. It's made him think a little bit, but Bird gets behind the jab. Very stiff jab from Bird.
Just to put into context the experience level, this is Aaron Bird's second contest and it's DARYL Sharp's 121st.
Sharp again trying to work that right jab, looking for the left hook over the top. Doesn't quite get there. Bird makes sure that he circles away from that left. He's coming onto the left now, and you can see straight away that DARYL Sharp's looking for that. He's looking for it all day long.
Bird a little bit tentative early on, Rich?
A little bit, yeah, but I think he's got every right to be, because like you said, I mean, DARYL Sharp pulling every trick out. I mean, I absolutely love what he just did there. I don't know if you picked up on that, pointing at the floor, trying to get Bird's attention, and then obviously looking for the big left hook. Bird didn't fall for it, but you know, very elementary.
Sorry to interrupt you, Rich. Is the mark under the right eye of DARYL Sharp? I'm not sure if he perhaps came into the contest with it or something there.
I didn't notice it. I saw him in the change rooms earlier. I didn't notice it. I think that's actually been caused by the very stiff left jab of Bird. Definitely would have noticed that. You can see it's a little bit glassy. It's a little bit marked up. DARYL Sharp's still going for it. Massive right hook there. And he's working on the inside as well. He's definitely making a contest of this.
DARYL Sharp now is probably actually worried that if he gets a bad bruising or worst case scenario a cut, he could be out of action for a few months, and that could be 2 or 3 fights down the drain for him.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You know, he's a very experienced lad, like you said, and I mean, I've thrown him in against Jake Anthony, and I think it was in Jake's maybe 5th or 6th fight, and I wondered if perhaps I was throwing him in just a little bit too soon, because he's the type of journeyman. If he smells a bit of blood in the water, then of course he'll go for it. When he fought Jake, he was fighting at 12 stone. He's fighting at light heavyweight here, a little bit bigger, but you know, he looks very comfortable with it, doesn't he?
Aaron Bird now seems to have settled down.
Yeah, Sharp just trying to entice him in, calling him in, trying to draw him into a scrap, and massive right hook, and he's calling him in. He's desperate to draw him into a war, isn't he?
Interesting first round of boxing.
Absolutely.
So into the second, and there was Mark Davis, who DARYL Sharp fought here a few months ago, as Dewi Powell next week pointed out. Apologies to Mark. Very good boxer from Caerphilly, now up and coming pro.
Ciaran Farrell in the corner there with DARYL Sharp. Quite surprised to see that obviously he is quite badly marked over that eye. Ciaran was quite animated in the corner, giving him instructions. You can see that Daryl's very, very keen to get into Bird, but I didn't see any application of the end swell. I mean, I would have thought that would have been the type of injury where you needed to get the cold iron on that straight away.
There's a good right hand momentarily from Bird. Is he very patient, Bird? Not rushing anything? Not getting drawn into any of the traps the Sharp is setting?
Just looking away at the referee, looking over at the crowd, trying to draw Bird's attention away from him. Literally pulling every trick in the book out here to try to distract him from the business at hand. Still marauding forward, and Bird keeping him honest with that jab. Just double jab there, lovely. Draws him onto a lovely straight right, and you can see Sharp is backing him for him to share the centre of the ring with him, begging him to engage in a war, but Bird not interested, and quite rightly as the young prospect, the young home fighter. He's got to stay disciplined. He's got to make sure that he keeps sharp on the end of his jab so that he doesn't catch one of those big right and left hooks that he keeps winging in.
Aaron Bird from Port Talbot.
Decent body shot there from Sharp. Just posturing, just feinting, lifting that right leg again, trying to draw the attention away. Bird unfazed, nice double jab, pushes Sharp back a little bit. Again, Sharp marauds forward, trying to draw him into some action.
Daryl Sharp really has got a I'll fight anyone type of attitude. Nice good shot from Bird.
Lovely shot from Bird. A straight left after a lead right, I think. And you know, I mean, if Sharp is coming on to that right, then
good solid jab from Bird again.
Absolutely fantastic jab. He needs to stay disciplined like this. Double jab pushes Sharp back.
Of course, Sharp has seen all this before. He's really has fought a who's who of British boxing.
Oh, absolutely. And if you don't stay switched on against him, then of course, you know, if he can, then he's going to hurt you, and he's going to try and get you out of there. In his last two fights, or wins, I should say, he's got a points win over Andy Simpson, in December 2022, I think. And then, of course, Aidan Anderson was stopped by him in the third round, a TKO in, I think it was February 22. And, you know, if he sees an opportunity, he's going to take it. And, of course, he doesn't want to be before the board for a number of losses. No journeyman wants that. So every now and again, they'll try and get that.
So, into the third, and I'm delighted to be joined by Dewi Powell of KO Cymru. Dewi, what do you think of Aaron Bird's performance so far?
I think it's been okay. I think he maybe was taken by surprise of Daryl Sharp's ambition in the opening round. We've seen Daryl Sharp go through the motions and do a great job, you know, in that journeyman role so often for so many fights. That's probably the most aggression I've seen him show during you know, any round I've watched him. But so, you know, fair play to him to gave Aaron Bird a couple of things to think about, then introduced his jab, and you can see the mark under Daryl Sharp's right eye. I don't think they've got an end swell in the corner, which is why it's maybe worse than it should be. But you're just seeing Aaron Bird at this mid-range just starting to work out Daryl Sharp, get the read on him, and score with those long straight shots.
What sort of advice do you think Bird's cornermen are telling him in between the round? Obviously he's fighting a really tricky customer, Daryl Sharp, who's, as Richie was saying, is goading him. You can see him talking to him right now, smiling in his face, snarling in his face.
I think the corner are likely to tell Aaron Bird just to be a bit more proactive. I think Daryl Sharp has slightly slowed his approach, and that's because of those long straight shots from Aaron Bird. I've just noticed his laces have completely come undone on his left boot. I don't think referee Rhys Carter has noticed so far. But yeah, I think the corner will just be telling Bird to be a bit more proactive, give Daryl Sharp something to think about. Daryl Sharp uses all of the tricks of the trade in talking, in pointing, in goading, and Aaron Bird I don't think has bought into that, so that's definitely a positive.
And just picking up on what Dewi was saying, his boot is wide open now, his left boot of Aaron Bird. Referee Rhys Carter hasn't noticed. I've noticed that Daryl Sharp stepped on the lace a few times.
Yeah, and of course with Daryl Sharp being a southpaw, their lead foots are on the same side, so that could be an accident waiting to happen.
Referee Rhys Carter from Bridgend. His eyes are on the boxers, the upper half of the boxers. It's nice use of the jab again from Bird. As Dewi was saying, maybe just a little bit too patient perhaps. But then again, it's easy to say that when you're on the safe side of the ropes, not facing a tricky customer like Sharp. If Daryl Sharp is getting paid for the amount of talking he does in the ring, he'd be a very rich boxer.
But we have seen fights in the past where rounds have been won on body language, where there's not much clean work between both boxers, but the boxer who presents that he's in control of things has sometimes managed to sway the judges. Obviously, it's just one scoring referee today, but I think Daryl Sharp is he's certainly having an effect on the fight with his body language. I think he's doing what he I think it's having the effect that he intends it to.
Aaron Bird from Port Talbot in the green and red shorts, on his feet well before the bell for the start of this round, and Daryl Sharp just calls him into the corner.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. He's desperate to have a go. He's desperate to draw him into the fight. He wants that war. At the end of the round, actually motioned to the crowd, shouted to the crowd, Daryl Sharp, he's running away, he's running away, he's running from me. Desperate to try to get him to engage. But he's working that jab lovely. And he doesn't want to get caught by Daryl Sharp. He does have heavy hands, and we know he can stop people. He's done it in the past.
And let's remember when we're watching this, and we've perhaps been a little bit critical of Bird, this is only his second pro contest, and he's facing a veteran of 120 fights, 121st fight tonight.
Oh, I mean, I'm not critical of the performance at all. I mean, he's there to do a job. He's there to come away with a win, and against a guy like Sharp, he's dominating behind the jab. Sharp's got that massive welt, that massive mouse on his right eye. So I mean, he's quite right just to work into that and make sure that he's as handicapped as possible in respect of seeing the punches come in. He's doing the right thing. I mean, he's following instructions in the corner. He's remaining disciplined, and he's doing everything right. I mean, it's not exciting, and I'm sure lots of the crowd would love to see him stand toe-to-toe in the centre of the ring with Daryl Sharp, but it just doesn't make sense to do it, does it?
I noticed Bird as well, he's not overcommitting himself when he throws the jab, because Daryl Sharp, you can see, he's just waiting to launch one of those big counter shot swings. So Bird is just doubling up on his jab, but he's not pushing forward too much, not walking onto any of those shots. And of course as well, Daryl Sharp, a southpaw, which some boxers find tricky. I mean, I've never spoke to Aaron Bird about it, but this is better from Bird. His corner are egging him on, telling him to keep the pressure on.
First time he's really pushed Daryl Sharp back, and I mean, Daryl Sharp has gone backwards, but that was to invite Bird in. But that's the first time really that he's actually pushed him back with any meaningful pressure. Other than that, he's just worked the jab lovely, and it's been a very workmanlike, very industrious, and very disciplined performance. Yeah,
Bird deserves credit just for maintaining his composure, because a lot of young fighters, and I've watched it quite a few times. I've watched Sharp fight a lot over the last 12 months, and some fighters just get drawn in by his antics. I've actually had Daryl Sharp lean over the ropes and talk to me during a fight in the York Hall, during the commentary. That's a nice body shot.
Oh, body shot? Look a little bit low.
On the borderline, I think. We'll have to look at the replay for that one, Rich.
I don't want to take those types of shots.
Oh, lovely straight right from Bird.
Doubled up the jab and then went with a straight right, which pushed Daryl back, and of course,
and that's got a response from Sharp.
And we're seeing a reinvigorated Sharp now. He's really going for it. He's really closing the distance.
I think now with Bird, and there's the bell. I was just going to say, if Bird could time a counter shot, he may be able to catch Sharp coming in. But I'm sure Aaron Bird from Port Talbot will have learned a lot from that contest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, 4 rounds of boxing begun to the referee's scorecard. The score is about 40-36 for your winner and association with Shadowbox presents in the Super Featherweight division. Introducing first in the red corner, wearing in black and silver, weighing in at 131.6 pounds, entering the ring for the 38th time, from Manchester, John Spencer. That is the opponent here, the people wearing white and green, weighing in at 132.2 pounds, undefeated and 2 wins, from Cardiff, KANE.
So this is a 4-round super featherweight contest between, in the white and green shorts, Kane Shepherd from Cardiff, and in the black and grey shorts from Manchester, John Spencer. The commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and KO Cymru's Dewi Powell.
Really looking forward to this one, Ciaran. Kane Shepherd is a really, really promising prospect. Only 2 fights in the last year, but skills to burn and lightning quick.
And I'm not sure if our viewers picked up on it as well. During his ring entrance, the fire alarms were going off here in the venue due to, I think, the smoke from his the smoke machine on the ring entrance. So it's all happening.
I can tell I'm not down with the kids because I thought it was part of the drum and bass music we were listening to.
I actually thought it was as well, if I gotta confess.
Kane's quite a technical boxer. We're just seeing him put those feints to use, put pressure on with his feet, and not actually having to throw much to push Spencer backwards.
It's a nice right hook to the body from Shepherd. John Spencer just smiled back in return, but it looked like it actually hurt him momentarily.
Yeah, you see him just take those, tried subtly just to take a big breath there through the side of his mouth.
John Spencer, record of just the 1 win, 36 defeats, and he has been stopped 5 times in those 36 defeats.
From what we're seeing so far, Kane Shepherd does look like he might be able to add to that as well.
A lovely right hook to the body from Shepherd and a left hook. This is good.
Really whipping those shots in as well. Not telegraphed, but really getting some torque on them.
At the moment, I think John Spencer from Manchester, he's just a little bit reluctant to let his hands go because any little punch he throws, he gets something back in return, and he does a good headshot and down he goes. Wow, this would be a real statement by Kane Shepherd if he get the stoppage.
It was that right hook to the body that did the damage.
Wow. Kane Shepherd with a first round knockout. You called it, Dewi. You said it might happen.
Yeah, I think you could just tell there was a level or a couple of levels, let's be honest, between them. But so often we see prospects play it safe. Go through the gears, go through the motions and take a 40-36 points win. But Kane Shepherd not fancying any of that at all today. In and out as quick as he could be.
I'm sure Kane Shepherd would be happy to have a KO win on his record. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you got KOs or not. A win's a win, but all boxers like to score knockouts, don't they?
Yeah, and importantly as well, the fans do. You can see he's got a decent support here. Made the 40-45 minute journey up from Cardiff, and that's what they want to see.
And our MC, Ricky Wright, is in the ring for the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prince George Costa into the 2 minutes and into seconds of round number 1. For your winner by knockout, has been defeated, Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome your first fighter into the ring from Sheffield, KARL SAMPSON. Ladies and gentlemen, World Boxing Association Championship presents 4 rounds in the lightweight division. Division first in the round one, wearing the black and silver, weighing in at 135.2 pounds. Entering the ring for the 27th time from Sheffield, KARL SAMPSON. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white and blue. 131 pounds, tonight he makes his professional debut from Belfast, KERR.
So Conor KERR in the blue and white shorts, making his pro debut tonight against KARL SAMPSON in the black and grey shorts, who's a very experienced journeyman. Here we go, round one. The commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and KO Cymru's Dewi Powell. Conor KERR from Belfast in Northern Ireland.
Interesting already seeing Sampson switch it from orthodox to southpaw and back again.
Yeah, he does it fairly seamlessly as well, doesn't he, Sampson?
Yeah, it's not an obvious effort to do it, is it? It's quite subtle. Looks quite natural to him. KERR just following, trying to find that range. If he's anxious on his debut, doesn't particularly look it.
Sampson, 29 years old, had 26 professional contests, a record of 5 wins, 20 defeats and 1 draw, and the 1 KO victory in his 5 wins.
And that ratio, Ciaran, it might not sound very impressive to people who are not familiar with boxing, in particular how small hole boxing works, but to get 5 wins and a draw on the road out of 26 fights is not a bad return at all.
He looks a slippery customer, doesn't he, Sampson? The way he moves around the ring, switching. Hasn't really offered much offensively yet.
No, not yet. I think KERR's slightly struggling to work out that range. He's throwing in bursts.
And this is a very big ring here in Abergavenny tonight, so that will suit Sampson's slippery style.
Yeah, let's get it right. These two are both weighing in at lightweight, I think, but they're pretty small lightweight, so probably will drop down in weight in the future, especially Conor Kerr as he hopefully progresses the title fights. But that ring seems even bigger to the smaller weight categories.
Our scoring referee tonight, Rhys Carter from Bridgend. One of the best up-and-coming referees, or he's beyond that now. One of the best referees in Britain. Last few moments of the first round of Conor Kerr's pro debut. Sure we pleased that round? So into the second. What do you think Conor's corner men will have told him in between the rounds there, Dewi?
I was interested to see that Kerr stood for the whole minute between the rounds, put his arms on the top rope, but stood up, so he's obviously fit as a fiddle. I think there wasn't a lot of scoring shots from either boxer in the first round, but just on sheer aggression, he would have collected it on a referee's scorecard. So a bit more of the same. Maybe sustain his combinations a little bit more. We're seeing him throw in, 3-4 punch combinations here and then get tied up. So I think his corner are likely to be telling him maybe just manage his distance a bit better, don't fall in on his shots, and try to turn that screw. All of it easier said than done.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know Kerr's amateur experience, because Sampson's a really tough pro debut, I think. The number of fights he has and his style. He's not a style to look good against. And on your pro debut, the pressure's on you to try and impress, put a lot of pressure on yourself.
I did read on irishboxing.com earlier today, Kerr won an Ulster intermediate title as an amateur, and if you know anything about amateur boxing, is that the Irish amateur boxing scene is really, really strong. So to win an Ulster title is something in itself. It's a real achievement. But obviously at the stage in his life now, 27 years old, where he was done with that, ready to crack on as a professional.
He's got a high output, Conor Kerr. Although just noticing, sorry to interrupt you there, we're just noticing Sampson, he is landing the odd counter shot now and again.
Yeah, he's a very capable operator. I think Kerr is slightly guilty of crowding his own work here when he does get close, but that's because Sampson is probably controlling the range. He's backing off on his own terms and then smothering it up close to reset. As you say, landing those little cuffing shots up close. He's done it again there. So a pretty tricky customer for your debut.
Tonight's boxing taking place in the Market Hall here in Abergavenny in South Wales.
The corner calling quite loudly there for him to compose himself. I think that'll be in relation to managing the distance better than he has so far, because he's got all the energy. You can see that, it's obvious. It's just being snuffed out a little bit by Sampson's tactics up close. Yeah, I would say just on sheer aggression, like we mentioned earlier, not without being too harsh on him. There's not been, a lot of quality scoring shots to see from either boxer, but I think his extra aggression is probably keeping him ahead at this stage.
I'm just wondering, is it the footwork of Conor Kerr that he needs to work on? So he seems maybe a couple of steps behind Sampson.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well his sort of upper body seemed to go beyond his feet.
Almost falling over his feet.
Yeah, a little bit. You see it there again.
Slightly off balance when he threw those shots.
But it is also the challenge, isn't it, of when you are constantly chasing someone, you get that forward momentum. You do have to compose yourself. As you saw, he did it better there when Sampson came forward and he made a read on that. But it's hard when you're constantly, you have to go forward to make a fight of it, which he's having to do here. That's why it looks like he's almost falling over his feet sometimes with his attacks.
And of course, as we've already said, this is his pro debut. He's eager to impress. He's eager to put a big performance on tonight. He is dropping his hands though, Kerr. Doesn't want to get in bad habits. Journeymen like Karl Sampson do spring the odd upset now and again.
And he has beaten more prospects with more fights than Conor Kerr as well. You know, he's beaten prospects with a couple of fights under their belt, so it's not an easy debut for Conor Kerr.
I think Sampson last won in December 2022, and he had a draw as well in the May of this year. The thing is, you don't know some of these journeymen. It's not that they're not good boxers, it's just the fact they can't sell tickets quite often, or they just don't want to sell tickets. A lot of them are probably very skillful fighters within their own right.
Great example of that coming up on this show later on, Ciaran, with Jordan Grannum, ex-ABA champion as an amateur, decided for business reasons, financial reasons, to make a career out of getting on the road and getting regular work in.
Pace just slowing in this round a little bit. Both boxers seem content just to hold and lean on. And now it's Kerr there momentarily moving on the outside of the ring.
Swinging a big single shot there as well.
So into the fourth and final round, Conor Kerr forgets his gum shield, touch of gloves between the fighters. Interestingly, neither fighter now is electing to sit on their stool in between the rounds.
It's a competition. Interestingly, while seeing Kerr switch to southpaw there, just give himself a new angle on the approach.
A little bit of aggression from Sampson. Sampson now back on the bike. That was a good couple of straight shots from Kerr.
And in fairness to Kerr as well, you know, he's facing some pretty frustrating tactics from Sampson. He's never really shown any frustration. Imagine on your pro debut, you want to make a big statement. He's not got carried away with the occasion, potentially helping. You know, it's not in his hometown; it's over the water here in Abergavenny. But I think he has kept his composure.
I suppose there is an argument to be made for the advantage of having your pro debut away from home, taking that extra pressure away from you.
Good work up close there. Following up the right upcut with the right hook.
When he actually stands and plants his feet, Karl Sampson, he throws pretty decent combinations.
Yeah, he's certainly capable. It's just the sort of level of activity, isn't it? He's not sustaining that for long periods of time to be winning these rounds. Just showing us glimpses of his quality.
He has been pretty negative for large periods of the fight, Sampson, but it's just those little flurries are probably enough to just prevent referee Rhys Carter giving him a warning.
Yeah, I think so. I think he knows the game, doesn't he?
He knows his
Plays
place
his
in the
role.
game as well, I think.
Yeah.
There's a nice couple of body shots from Sampson. Again, KERR dropping his hands. You've got a pretty good reflexes to have your hands that low, especially when you're trying to close the distance. There's the last few moments of the contest, and what's probably going to be a Conor KERR victory. And I really enjoyed that contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, for rounds of action, we go to the referee's scorecard. Rhys Carter has the round 40, the 36. For your winner, the cheer starts now. Conor KANE! And now would you please welcome his opponents from Cardiff, Jamie, 162.4 pounds. Tonight he enters the king ring for the 151st time. From Islington, Jordan GRANNUM. And his opponent in the blue corner, red, white and blue. Weighing at 165 pounds, he is undefeated at 10 wins. Fighting now.
Jamie Evans from Cardiff in the white and blue shorts. Jordan GRANNUM in the black and yellow shorts. 4 rounds in the super welterweight division. Your commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and KO Cymru's Dewi Powell.
Glad to see Evans back in the ring, Ciaran. I think we all know in Wales of his talent, 10 Welsh titles as an amateur throughout various age categories. Not quite happened for him as a pro yet, been pro 7 years, just 10 fights under his belt, but hoping now he can kick on, especially with one eye on tonight's main event.
Yeah, Jamie Evans turned pro back in 2016, I think it was, after winning the Senior Welsh finals the year before.
And he's such a natural. You see he's a very skillful southpaw. Obviously cousin to Olympic silver medalist Fred Evans too. Boxing in the blood.
And you can see his talent straight away. Just naturally very fluent, naturally very quick, picks his shots well.
At long range here, really looks out of position, does he? Worth noting as well, talking of amateur achievement, Jordan GRANNUM is an ex-ABA champion as an amateur, gone on the road as a pro, one of the best journeymen you'll find on the circuit, 130 fights or 131 fights now, deep into his professional career, and always, a reliable, sturdy opponent for up-and-comers.
And GRANNUM actually got a draw in his last contest over Zach Vassell last month. Jamie Evans is, I think it's fair to say, he's a pure boxer. He doesn't carry much power. Now back with Darryl Wilson in the corner.
I don't think we don't have too many professional trainers in Wales, I think it's fair to say. But it's easy to overlook, Darren's level of experience. He's obviously with Jason Cook for the final phase of his career. Then, won titles with Jamie Arthur, and of course then with Nathan Cleverly in the corner, lead trainer of the night. Cleverly beat Jürgen Bremer for the WBA secondary title over in Germany.
Yeah, experienced trainer Darryl Wilson, and as a strength and conditioning coach as well.
Yeah, on that subject, speaking to him earlier today, says he fancies seeing JJ go all the way down to welterweight one day in the future. I'm not sure whether he will, especially if he could secure a fight against the winner of tonight's main event for the Celtic Super Welterweight title.
So into the second round in this Super Welterweight contest, taking place here in the Market Hall in Abergavenny in South Wales. Jamie Evans has a bit of a stop-start career, as we were indicating earlier there. He's had a couple of fights a year. He had a long break fairly recently, then every year was 1 or 2 fights. The talks of a Welsh title fight never really materialised.
No, not yet, and of course the pandemic didn't help anyone at this level of boxing. The televised shows did, eventually go ahead, but small hall boxing pretty much ground to a halt, didn't it, during the pandemic? So Jamie Evans and the likes of him would have been victims of that.
Jordan GRANNUM just landed a couple of good jabs there.
Yeah, I think he kind of read. I think Jamie is looking to step on the front foot a bit more, but his actual punch output hasn't increased that much from where it was before. So GRANNUM able just to take advantage with Evans coming coming closer. Obviously, Evans' advantages are long range. They're those slick southpaw skills, but gives up a bit of that advantage when he's closer to the target. So GRANNUM just chipping away when he can. That's more like it.
Our referee for this contest, Chris Jones from Swansea, is also the scoring official should the fight go the distance. Jamie Evans had a few different trainers throughout his career. Was with Gavin Rees previously to teaming back up with Daryl Wilson.
Similar to CARVELL, CROCKER as well, who we saw on the show earlier. Alumni of Splot Amateur Boxing Club, one of the best amateur boxing clubs I think in the capital city, Cardiff. And that's where a lot of these natural skills we've seen from Jamie Evans would have been learnt under Pat Mahoney and James Mwazigala.
A real conveyor belt of quality fighters from that gym.
I like what we've seen with Jamie. He's done it a couple of times now. He's almost thrown a reverse 1-2, finishing on the jab, making use of that southpaw angle.
Jordan GRANNUM previously boxed a Welsh fighter, Ben Crocker, fairly recently in the York Hall, lost on points.
I think he's fought Mark Davis recently as well, and all of them would agree. You know, he's a hard man to get out of there.
Very skilled operator. I'm fairly sure Jamie Evans is 2 rounds up on the scorecard so far. I'm just going to bring in trainer and manager Richie Garner. And what do you think of Jamie's performance so far tonight, Rich?
Yeah, measured performance, working the right jab from the southpaw stance, lovely. Jordan GRANNUM's not throwing too much back. Jordan's a very disciplined journeyman. He comes and, you know, he pressures a little bit, but he never offers too much. He could. I mean, I know Jordan. I've actually worked his corner. I've wrapped his hands. He's actually a very, very accomplished amateur. I think that when he turned over, he had a record of 3-0 to begin with, and he was the home fighter. And then, due to personal circumstances, he decided he wanted to be the away fighter, decided to go on the road, and then obviously has a plethora of losses. But former ABA champion, he certainly has a lot more to offer than this. But he's turned up and he's going through the motions. He's keeping JJ honest, but at the same time, he's not being too dangerous, is he?
I mean, is there anything more that Jamie could be doing here now, or is this Jamie at his best, just boxing at range? He's a little bit more aggressive, as Dewi was saying, than he usually is, I think it's fair to say.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. But as I say, Jordan's not coming back with too much, and he definitely could. He definitely could come back with a little bit more. But what I'd like to see Jamie do, perhaps, is work body and head, and mix it up a little bit. But you know, he hasn't thrown too many body punches. You'll see that GRANNUM carries a very, very high guard, perhaps feint and throw a right hook into the body, but we're not seeing too much body work from Jamie at the moment.
GRANNUM just falling short with his jab. I notice Evans landed a good uppercut.
Yeah, although GRANNUM's taken pretty much everything on the gloves, he's just smothered everything that Jamie's done. And of course, he offers the odd jab back every now and again. His footwork is fantastic. and he'll always get him out of trouble. He literally takes what he wants to take, I think. But I would like to see Jamie work the body. Perhaps Jamie doesn't want to get in too close and get drawn into anything. He's looking, with the greatest respect to him, a little bit flashy around the midriff himself. Perhaps he doesn't want to engage on that level. But I mean, you know, he's not the type of fighter, as you've said, who engages and gets close and works on the inside in any event. He's got fast hands, he's a southpaw, and he tends to work on the outside, and that's what he's done tonight.
And Jordan GRANNUM, is worth noting, in his 117 defeats, he's only been stopped twice. And with Evans, I think it's fair to say he's not a big hitter. He's a pure boxer. It's very unlikely he'd get a stoppage here tonight, even if his fight went further.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you know, Jamie likes to work behind the jab. He's done it tonight with great success, and he's about to close out the third round. And he's won every round so far. A little bit more adventurous there, straight right, left, and that concludes the round.
Both boxers are on their feet a good 10-15 seconds before the bell to start this final round.
It would be nice now, Ciaran, to see Jamie go through the gears. I think he's boxing well within his comfort zone. You could probably go find him after his Christmas dinner and he could do something like this. He's such a natural at it.
I'm just wondering, is it with Jamie, because he's, you know, he knows he's not going to stop this guy? Is he just, he knows his ability and he's just comfortable to box this way without putting himself at any risk?
Yeah, he's very comfortable doing this. I think he could do this for, you know, for many, many, many more rounds than 4 that we have here today.
And also as well, I think Jamie Evans, he might be one of those type of fighters who just actually looks a lot better when he's fighting better opponents, especially maybe an aggressive type of guy who come at him, who'd let his hands go, leave lots of gaps for counter shots.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? You know, typically you see these slick southpaws who are good at long range. The best you see of them is when they've got someone throwing shots at them, leaving gaps, so they can take those openings. And you're not really going to see that when they face a journeyman like Jordan GRANNUM.
I imagine Evans, when he's facing better opposition, he'd be more inclined to hold the centre of the ring rather than edging forward like he is in this fight.
I agree. I do think, though, you know, we've not seen him in the ring for a while. I think his last fight was against BERMAN SANCHEZ, who we saw earlier tonight. That was last year. But at least, you know, his hands, they do look sharp. He doesn't look like, you know, he's carrying any significant ring rust. So hopefully, you know, he can get back in the ring soon after this. You know, we don't see a big gap like we've seen previously in his career. Yeah,
I mean, this is his 11th fight tonight, so I think he's ready for that step up. He's ready for that title fight, an area title fight, or, you know, Celtic title fight, or whatever belt may be available.
Yeah, I think it's the opponent we'd like to see, wouldn't it? It doesn't really matter what the belt is, but he does look ready to progress to more competitive matchups. I think he's served his apprenticeship against this type of opponent now, and there's, you know, the pretty, you know, clear reason to believe we'd see the best of him against someone coming to win.
Landed a decent uppercut again. Jamie Evans throws it again, a lead uppercut.
Takes one in return there.
Yeah, fires his own shot back. Final moments of this contest. Successful return to boxing after a 13-month layoff or so for Jamie Evans.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 4 rounds of boxing leading up to the referee's scorecard. Chris Jones has it 40-36 for your winner and still undefeated, Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome your first fighter into the ring from Manchester, Liam Fox. And now would you please welcome his opponent from Whisker, Jake TINKLIN. Ladies and gentlemen, KANE in association with Shadowbox present for Yaxley Super Lightweight Division. Introducing first in the record round black light, weighing at 143.6 pounds. Tonight he enters the ring for the 11th time from Manchester, Liam Fox. And his opponent in the blue corner with the white and gold, weighing in at 144.4 pounds. Here's the record, 9 wins with only 1 defeat from Whisker, Jake TINKLIN. Your referee Charles Reese Cutter.
Jake TINKLIN in the yellow and white shorts against Liam Fox in the predominantly black shorts.
TINKLIN obviously coming out of Market Hall today as the home fighter. He of course fought for the world title recently, his only loss, which is a bit of a shock, wouldn't you agree?
I thought it was going to be a 50-50 to be fair, although it sounded like I'm sitting on the fence, but I thought it was going to be a fairly even contest. I don't think Jake, speaking to him, he's been very frustrated since that fight. I mean, it was a close fight, and I think it was only some small improvements Jake really needs to make to really improve in that performance. But for whatever reason, he hasn't really been able to secure any really big fights since then.
Yeah, I think that he's had a change in circumstance insofar as he's become a father, and you know he's had to work full time rather than dedicate himself fully as a boxer, and obviously that's perhaps had a knock-on effect in relation to his boxing. But I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I had him as the favourite for that fight, and I was quite shocked. Not just at the fact that he lost, but of obviously the manner that he lost in. Jake has got an absolutely fantastic pedigree as an amateur. As a pro, I think he's impressed. I've worked in the corner opposite him when I was in the corner with Fons Alexander, and Fons Alexander said he was incredibly strong and incredibly fit. And as a result, I picked him to, I'm not going to lie, win that Welsh contest.
I was actually talking to Jake earlier this evening, and he was very disappointed the size on this ring. He said he wanted a smaller ring as possible because he wanted a real war tonight. Because as I was saying, he's been really frustrated with the way his boxing career has gone since that loss to Lloyd Jermaine.
Yeah, and you know, I saw Lloyd recently, and I wasn't shy of telling him that I wasn't sure that he'd win that fight. And, you know, I can justify it. I mean, ultimately, Lloyd Jermaine, didn't have many fights as an amateur, whereas Tinklin's amateur career was stellar in comparison. But you can see his pedigree here today. He's working behind a lovely left jab against Fox, and Fox is closing the distance and trying to nullify his power, because he's quite powerful as well, and he's quite explosive when he does put his combinations together, as we can see from the 3-4 punch combination he put together there.
Oh, nice right hand.
Absolutely fantastic right hand. He just touched with the jab, found his distance, and then came over the top of the right hand, and I think Fox felt that one, don't you think?
Yeah, Fox, you'd cue the shot land, and another one there as Fox moves onto the ropes.
Yeah, he took the sting out of it a little bit, but Tinklin look at his score as Fox tries to smother his work. 2 right uppercuts on the inside, found their mark as well. Pushes him to the ropes, and Tinklin's working to the body.
He's grabbing hold. I mean, he's only had 10 fights, and he's lost all of those, Liam Fox from Manchester, but he's never been stopped. So if Tinklin was able to force a stoppage here, it would be a massive statement. Yeah, definitely looking to make an impression. He's working body and head, and keeping that nice high tight guard, and working with explosive combinations. It's a really good opening round for Tinklin. Lands a right hook and uppercut. Really nice good opening round. Jake Tinklin, trained by former world champion Gavin Rees, who seemed to be indicating to his man to use the ring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was telling him to work, not do things in straight lines, perhaps. Looking at his gesticulating, what a fantastic plethora of riches he's got in his corner. Obviously he's got Gavin Rees, former world champion, and of course he's got Turley in his corner as well. And if obviously knowledge comes by the pound, then he's rich in knowledge indeed.
Liam Fox just landed a good left hook in that exchange.
Nice right hand to the body from Tinklin. Another right hand to the body. Another right hand. You can see that there's an opening there. Left hook to finish as he comes away with his chin a little bit high. Fox looking to throw that looping left hook and just hold to take the pressure off a little bit.
Tinklin is putting venom in these shots. Snapped the head back of Fox with that jab moments ago, and the good right hand as well.
Yeah, it looks a completely different fighter to the fighter that fought Lloyd Jermaine.
The fight with Jermaine, it just seemed like he seemed reluctant to throw aggressive shots in that fight for whatever reason.
I will say this though, Lloyd Jermaine really surprised me in respect of his footwork and how well he controlled the pocket, getting in and out. And I think that definitely frustrated Tinklin on the night and made it very difficult for him. Let's not take anything away from him, because it was a fantastic performance.
And Liam Fox in his corner, he's got former pro Ciaran Farrell. Nice body shots again from Tinklin.
Again, a plethora of experience from Ciaran Farrell, and established himself as a great trainer now, and further to that as well, he's just closed his gym, I think, and I think he's moving to Essex, become head trainer of a gym there. I think I saw that recently on Twitter, that he'd closed his gym,
nice
which has been a bit of a dream.
Tinklin. Do you think though, Rich, that Tinklin, he's tall, he's got long limbs, but he fights up close, and almost a Mexican type of style?
He does like to come forward, he does like to engage at a close range, and he could obviously keep things long.
I know at this level he's going to get away with it. That's a good left hook, but maybe as he steps up in class again, his fight at a long range possibly will win him the fights and the title fights. He no doubt wants to win further down the line.
There's not many lads at this weight who can make this weight quite comfortably like he does, and be so tall and rangy. It's lovely to have that in your arsenal. He's absolutely sticking the jab there, and after 2 very solid jabs, he throws a left-right combination which find their mark, and you can tell there's an incredible amount of venom in those shots.
Yeah, looking really impressive as this round comes to its conclusion. Another excellent round for Jake Tinklin.
I do want to say a massive thank you to someone who has been on the posters and I've tagged in different posts but not said much about, and that is the MBF charity, the Mahedi Bousfia Foundation. Runs disaster relief and charity projects all over the world, and the latest project is to help impoverished children here in Wales, which is why I'm so happy that they're supporting the event and giving me the opportunity to box for such a big title and put on such a big show in my hometown. But if you can take a look at their website and off their Instagram page, which I will tag, it's more than just about boxing, them being involved with us. It's about spreading a message, and we want to help people all over the world. But for me personally, I'll be sort of monitoring the project here in South Wales. We'll be looking after children in the area that aren't getting the right education or aren't getting the right nutrition, and any pennies that you can put in towards helping the Mahedi Bousfia Foundation to grow and to network and to get better is going to be massive for us. So thank you very much.
Ian Fox a little late off his stool for the start of this round. Joining him on commentary now is KO Cymru's Dewi Powell. Dewi, could Jake Tinklin be doing anything different here in this contest?
I've been quite impressed with his aggression. I think we were all a bit concerned when he was pretty passive a year ago in his Welsh title defeat to Lloyd Germain. But he snapped that jab out today. He's bounced on his feet and he's throwing some eye-catching uppercuts from range as well. So I've been pretty impressed with his aggression. Let's be honest, Liam Fox has got 10 losses from 10 fights, and I think he's yet to win a round. So Jake should be dominating the action in the way that he is. Maybe a bit more dynamic with what he's doing, because he is throwing good body shots, he's throwing good head shots, but he's not really throwing good body shots and then good head shots. Like they seem to be in isolation so far. He seems to either throw to the head or to the body. If he could mix levels, change that up, give Fox something to think about. But in fairness to Fox, he's doing a good job of sort of spoiling the action when he takes a couple. He's not a stationary target, so he's making Tinklin work hard to find the target, I think.
Matthew Turley in the corner of Jake Tinklin was just indicating for his man to throw the uppercut. He's used the jab really well in this round, Tinklin.
Really snapped it. I tell you what, Ciaran, that his sort of style has reminded me a little bit of Tony Pace in this fight. It's a little bit unorthodox, but they make it work for them. Not Tony Pace, sorry, Tony Dixon.
I was just thinking a blast from the past, Tony Pace.
Yeah. But it's a similar sort of style and stance, how he bounces into range, heavy on that jab.
I mean, do you think he should be fighting more at range for a man of his stature?
Yeah, but I think we've seen enough of him now.
Actually, just sorry to interrupt you. Just as I say that, he's actually starting to box more at range.
Yeah, certainly. But I think we've seen enough of him now to know, whilst he probably has the physical attributes for it, I think he likes to fight a bit too much.
It's almost a little bit like Nathan Cleverly.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Gavin Gwyn's another one. You see these boxers with these long arms. They're tall as well, but the natural instinct is to fight up close.
Jake Tinklin, I think he just enjoys fighting. Is the bottom line. Comes from a fighting family. And there's that uppercut that Matthew Turley was calling for. The referee for this contest, Rhys Carter from the Gen, who will be scoring the contest as well. Should it go the distance? Last few moments of the round. Another dominant round for Jake Tinklin.
Yeah, this will be 3 from 3, I think.
A touch of gloves and a little smile from Jake Tinklin as he goes back down to action.
Yeah, you could see that Fox towards the end of that round there was, as opposed to engaging and holding, he tried to get on his bike a little bit because, of course, TINKLIN has worked him out a little bit insofar as he's found his distance and he's tagging him quite often now. And on the inside, TINKLIN's making things very, very difficult for him. So he was on his bike, he tried to keep it long, a couple of jabs just to try to keep TINKLIN away at the end. But, you know, he's making a very, very difficult night for Fox. Certainly he's earning his money tonight.
Fox has never boxed beyond 4 rounds. This is another 4-round contest tonight. I think possibly if the fight was to go much longer. I mean, TINKLIN's, it looks like a type of fighter that just wears guys down. Just his attrition and his fitness. And he probably punches harder than his record suggests as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. You know, I think he's got to just use that jab as a rangefinder now. And perhaps not fall in so much, perhaps not overcommit when he throws those shots. Lovely right hook to the body there, but just use it now. Just touch with the jab, but and then let those right hands go. He's not going to the body so much as he did earlier on in the contest.
One thing about TINKLIN as well, I mean, it's obviously about levels. I mean, Liam Fox is not a particularly good boxer, let's be honest. But he always seems to be in punching position. He lands shots that maybe you don't expect him to land.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Fox is just using his left hand as a rangefinder there, trying to make sure that TINKLIN doesn't get too close, and then of course closing the distance. Bit of a clash of heads there, which Fox didn't come out of too favourably.
There's
nice uppercut. Yep, there it is.
That's the shot that
Lovely
TINKLIN's
left hook
corner
on
men
the
were
inside
calling
from
for.
TINKLIN. I think he definitely felt that left hook on the inside there. What do you think, Ciaran?
Yeah, Fox is stumbling around a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if this is a 6-round contest, there would be the possibility of Jake getting him out of there, especially if he keeps ripping those uppercuts on the inside like he did there. He's working Fox up a little bit now, moving him round, pulling him onto the punches a little bit. But I mean, I just like to see him trying to set up these punches a little bit more.
And let's give a little bit of credit to Liam Fox from Manchester, very tough man. Taking some big shots from TINKLIN in this contest, but he's still in there.
Absolutely, yeah, and he took another uppercut there, just coming over the front foot a little bit far. TINKLIN recognised that and of course threw that uppercut, ripped it through the middle and was successful again. Fox having a little go here, pushing TINKLIN back to the ropes. Couple of punches, they share punches to the back of the head, then that's the end of the contest, and surely TINKLIN's won every round.
Ladies and gentlemen, for rounds of action, we go to the referee scorecard. Please come to has it 40-36 for your winner, Jake. presents the Super Welterweight Division. Introducing first in the red corner wearing the black and silver. Weighing in the 155 pounds, tonight he enters the ring for the 107th time. From bringing in J. Hall. Next month in the blue corner wearing the white and gold. Weighing in the 107.4 pounds. He is undefeated at 6 wins with 2 wins and 5 wins of knockouts. From Bedford, Devon,
So it's a super welterweight contest between Billy Stanbury in the white shorts and MJ Hall in the black and grey shorts. Your commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and KO Cymru's Dewi Powell. This is fight number 7 for Stanbury tonight. From Devon in the south of England. Against the very experienced MJ Hall. MJ Hall has the record of 3 wins, 101 defeats, and 2 draws.
I think crucially, Ciaran, in those 101 defeats, only stopped 6 times. Knows his way around the ring, does this week in, week out. And Billy Stanbury is making a dent in him here.
Yeah, he does seem very easy to hit Hall for some of his experience.
Unsteady on his legs.
And Stanbury senses, he feels he's made a breakthrough, although Hall calls him on.
Our co-headliner and co-promoter, Ciaran Gething, has told me about Stanbury's power, and it's evident to see here. With both hands, it looks like as well.
Just shows you how. There's a good shot again. Stanbury's got the 2 victories by stoppage out of his 6 wins.
Interestingly as well, they're both southpaws. Is that old saying that 2 southpaws never make a great fight, but Stanbury's got the read on Hall here.
Stanbury's trying to get we see it again, the hook just underneath the elbow to the body.
He's measuring those body shots around the sides really well.
This is Stanbury's 7th contest this evening here in the Market Hall, here in Abergavenny in South Wales.
See, he likes it up close. He's just pulling the arms down, pushing things around, just to create little openings for himself. Quite comfortable in the eye of the storm.
Hall just looks a little unsteady on his feet.
Little complaint there that one went low. I don't know if it did.
It was impressive the way Stanbury threw a series of headshots and then whipped in the body punch. Been a very impressive opening round from Billy Stanbury. Wow, good round. So into the second, and that was a really impressive opening round from Stanbury in the white. He really did hit MJ Hall with every shot in the book in that opening round.
Straight back to it in the second round here. Found that gap between the guard for a couple of heavy uppercuts there. Hall punished for leaning over his front foot. You can't blame him. He's just trying to squeeze up his defense, I think, and survive at this minute.
The referee, Chris Jones from Swansea, who's also scoring the contest.
Easy fight to score at the minute.
We could hear that body shot landing here. Ringside now, commentary position.
Sometimes you hear those shots, Ciaran. I'm sure you've had it before, where they sound so bad because they've hit a glove or something like that. These are hitting flesh.
Yeah.
And they sound just the same.
The fight I remember the most from that was Guy Buckland and Gavin Rees the first time around.
Violence.
Hall just doing what he has to do to get through the round, not really offering anything back in return.
In fairness to Hall as well, though, Ciaran, he's not looked to spoil, is he? He's not looked to grab on and, you know, turn Stanbury around, walk him to the ropes. He's not wasted anyone's time here, but it's working against him.
Uppercut. Not sure how much more he'll be able to take of this before the shots take their toll. Hall just throwing a few shots back of his own, nothing really effective.
Nothing to keep Stanbury off him.
There's the uppercut again. We could see Hall's head spinning around as it landed.
All bloodied at the nose now as well. Interesting for Stanbury here. He's from North Devon. Don't get too many fighters from that part of the world. I think we've got Brad Pauls, maybe Tommy Langford in years gone by, but 70 amateur fights under his belt, and he looks really well schooled.
Yeah, it's been a really impressive contest so far, especially against such an experienced opponent as MJ Hall. In between the rounds, I noticed the referee, Chris Davis, went over to the corner of MJ Hall. Another word. I didn't quite catch what was being said, but I think the general impression I had was that he expects something from MJ Hall back in return, or he'll step in to protect him.
Yeah, you can understand that. You often, you see with these journeymen, they've got another date or two lined up usually, and if they get stopped, it's a 28-day at least suspension. But that is not the referee's concern. His concern is to keep them as safe as possible on this night.
Chris Jones, a very good referee. A very good fighter himself back in the day as a kickboxer.
I've seen the highlights videos. They are very impressive.
See Stanbury just trying to find the spot to land his power shots. And this is very one-sided now. There's a marking on the cheek of Stanbury. I think it's actually the blood from Hall's face.
Hall's face looking pretty swollen now, especially on the left side, which will be those right hooks he's taken.
This is a really impressive performance from Billy Stanbury.
do feel like in moments like that, his weight distribution is pretty good. When Hall does sort of clamber forward to just try and spoil the actual action, Stanbury is usually a step ahead. Just slides out of range, so he's good to go again.
And this has been fairly relentless stuff. Stanbury just slips his head side to side to avoid the jab coming back from Hall.
Dangerous
Pause.
territory here.
Pinned on the ropes, getting worked over a little bit. Last few moments of another very tough round for MJ Hall. Fourth and final round of what's been a really impressive performance from Billy Stanbury against a really experienced MJ Hall. MJ Hall has taken a bit of a beating, if we're honest, but he's showing real toughness and resilience. His face is bloodied and bruised, but he's trying to make it to the final bell. I mean, is there anything Billy Stanbury could be doing here differently, Dewi?
Maybe trying to draw MJ Hall onto shots. I think at the minute it's kind of being fought wherever Stanbury wants it, which is on the front foot. And he's not being relentlessly aggressive, but he's being constantly aggressive. I feel like he could have a little bit more success if he draws Hall forward. But that being said, it's pretty much going all his own way as it is, isn't it?
I just noticed in between the rounds as well, Billy Stanbury had a little bit of blood from his own nose, so something must be coming back from MJ Hall. I mean, it's nothing too obvious.
And I do think, journeymen like Hall, they do deserve a lot of credit. We see, not to be all Brexit, but sometimes we see, foreigners come over and you never see them again. They're bombed out of there early on, and they're there to pad records. MJ Hall maybe is there to pad records, but not with easy knockouts. If you're going to stop him, you're going to have to perform very well.
And this is MJ Hall's 107th contest tonight, and I think just that fact alone makes this performance so impressive from Billy Stanbury.
Yeah, he looks a natural. Oh,
lovely right hook to the body and a shot to the head as well. And Stanbury was throwing hooks just under the elbows of Hall. Oh, and there's that body shot again. What a tough man MJ Hall is.
I think Stanbury might have sore hands in the morning.
Not long left to this contest. And MJ Hall will be glad to hear that final bell.
He deserves to hear it at this stage as well.
But what an impressive performance from Billy Stanbury from Devon in the south of England. And I'm sure he's won that fight unanimously on the Chris Jones's card. And I look forward to watching him again in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, and for rounds of action, we go to the referee scorecard. Chris Jones has 40 defense. for your winner and still undefeated, STANBURY. To the main event of the evening. This one for the IBO Continental and Celtic Super Welterweight Championships. Please welcome the first bout challengers into the ring from Rutland, Yaxley. In Abergavenny, Ciaran, This is your main event of the evening, Abergavenny, Introducing first in the ring of the world,
Main event time here in the Market Hall in Abergavenny. An electric atmosphere. Ciaran Gething's hometown. But Sean Yaxley from North Wales has brought an army of fans down. Ciaran Gething in the maroon coloured shorts. Sean Yaxley in the yellow shorts. Celtic super lightweight title up for grabs. Your commentators, myself, Ciaran Gibbons, and KO Cymru's Dewi Powell.
Looks like these two are straight down to action as well, Ciaran.
Also up for grabs tonight, the IBO title. A title that will give the winner a good ranking with their organisation. They want to move on to bigger and better things, which no doubt they do.
Both boxers wearing puncher's gloves as well. Cleto raise.
And Yaxley looks like he's in there trying to get a stoppage. He's been really aggressive. So already landed some solid punches.
There was a left hook that really got Gething's attention a moment ago. Two more there. Anthony Crawler in Yaxley's corner, calling him forward.
Just looking at them in the ring here in front of us, Yaxley looks a lot bigger and sturdier than Gething.
Yeah, this being at super welterweight, 2 divisions above where Gething won his Welsh title. Yaxley will have that natural size advantage. Of course, would have rehydrated from yesterday's weigh-in too. But in fairness to him, Ciaran, I think it's his skills that have got him off to a really solid start here.
Oh, nice right hand from Yaxley, timed it really well. And again. Yaxley from Ruthin in North Wales.
A big Wrexham fan. It's a good time to be involved in Wrexham sport.
Gething
catches him.
That shot shook Yaxley. Really good punch from Ciaran Gething. It was a left hook, I think. Oh, another left hook. This is a great response from Gething.
That has stopped Yaxley in his tracks.
And with those shots, Ciaran Gething has laid down a marker, I think. Sean Yaxley was having a pretty good round up until that point.
One thing Gething said in the build-up to this is it's a long time since Sean Yaxley's had a competitive fight. Since his last amateur days over 5 years ago. And at least in a ring, he will not have been hit like that for a very long time. Maybe in training, but never in his pro career under the lights.
Wow, what an opening round. And as Dewi was saying there, this is Sean Yaxley's 13th pro fight. He's been a pro now for several years, and that live competition against guys you are fighting who want to win could be a factor. I mean, it's difficult when you're matching guys and bringing them through the ranks. When do you let them off the reins, so to speak? And up until this point, just looking at Sean Yaxley's record, he's only fought journeyman. He's never fought a guy with a winning record.
Yeah, this is of course his step up. Everyone's got to make that step up at one point. Ciaran Gething's step up was against Tony Dixon for the Welsh welterweight title a couple of years ago, and he acquitted himself very well on that occasion. So it can be done.
So here we go into the second round. Brilliant atmosphere here in the Market Hall in Abergavenny, the hometown of Ciaran Gething. A really close opening round.
Reasons for both to be confident from that opening round, I think.
I just wonder though, psychologically, will Ciaran Gething have had the upper hand with the way he hurt Yaxley?
Yeah, that was a standout moment, wasn't it? And it's interesting because they kind of mirrored each other's own stances up until that point. But Gething a little bit quicker to the punch when it mattered up close as they traded. And they're back to mirroring each other's stances here.
Yaxley a little bit more cautious this round, though. That was a good left hook to the body. He tried to move up to the head of the right hand as well. I think it just went around the back of the head of Gething.
One interesting thing to note as well, this is a very large ring. It's a 24-footer, which you don't see very often, and Gething possibly making use of that. Just edging backwards a little bit more than Sean Yaxley.
Gething pumping out his jab, not all those are landing. Again, another close round. Not going to be easy to score.
Gething just trying to fend off Yaxley from range with those pouring jabs. Not really landing, but stopping Yaxley from just completely pouring forward. And then when he holds his feet, Gething gets 2 or 3 shots off like that and skirts around to the sides.
He's boxing very cleverly in this round, Gething. Just doing enough to win, I think. Although it's very close.
Another big left hook. Yaxley's hurt again. It's big, it's looping us around the side, and it just seems to not be in his eye line in those moments.
Gething moving when he's throwing his jabs, making a difficult target for any counter punches coming back in return. Ciaran Gething just swipes off his shoulder there and looks almost contemptuously towards Sean Yaxley as the round ended.
One thing to note, Sean Yaxley's usual trainer for tonight, Joe Gallagher, not able to be here. He's with Natasha Jonas, who's just become a 2-weight world champion in Manchester. So not here in person, but we've got the spirit of him almost. There's the full crew from Shams Camp, Anthony Crawler, Marcus Morrison, Macaulay McGowan, and they need to summon that spirit of Joe Gallagher, one of the best trainers we've got in the country, to get Yaxley through these tough opening moments.
Yeah, not having your #1 trainer, if you like, or your head coach in the corner when you're in the toughest fight of your life, in the deepest waters, that could be a key factor in the result of this fight. So into the third. Yaxley leads off the left hook. Gething fires back with his flurry of shots.
Yeah, making him pay. Yaxley just held his feet there, squeezed his guard, didn't actually throw anything. So it's target practice for Ciaran Gething around the sides and up the middle. If Yaxley's going to come into range, he needs more of this.
Gething said in the build-up to this contest that is his experience that would make the difference. And you can see that Gething is the more comfortable person in there.
And remember, these two have sparred as well on the Welsh national squad as amateurs. They know each other. Might have been many years ago, but they've got some experience of each other. Good catch and counter there from Yaxley. No, that's something we see often from Joe Gallagher's boxers.
Even though the records between the two fighters are fairly similar, it's Ciaran Gething who's fought the much better opponents to date. He's been in those tough 50-50 fights. Good jab from Yaxley.
And he's taken a lot of confidence from that as well. Yaxley's not really, put a foot round in his pro career. He's not lost a round. But it's different when you're in there with someone who wants to fight, wants to punch you as much as you want to punch them.
Ciaran Gething rolls under the big hook from Yaxley. Ciaran Gething using this big ring to his advantage.
Some really effective jabs to the body there from Yaxley.
And he landed a right hook as well.
Seeing Yaxley try that a couple of times there, just dip into his right to slip the jab. Didn't come back with anything on 2 occasions, and on the 3rd time fight a right straight over the top of it.
Yeah, he's tried that shot a few times now, hasn't he? Yaxley just the 2 stoppage wins of his career so far. Of his 12 victories, no defeats. Gething 12 wins, 2 defeats and 2 draws.
Considering Yaxley was buzzed in the 1st and 2nd rounds, I think he's actually this is a really solid session for him, yeah.
Yeah, he's come back well. He's just starting to use his jab a lot more as well.
And his movement, his upper body movement, has just pulled Ciaran Gething back onto the front foot.
And look at the body language. Both fighters seem happy with their performance in that round. Just going to bring Richie Garner in here now. Oh, we're not going to bring Richie in. He's not quite ready. How are you scoring this fight so far, Richie?
Yeah, shaping up to be a very interesting fight. Gething obviously is doing very well in just little bursts. Yaxley is putting the pressure on, and he's working just a little bit harder than Gething. I'd like to see a little bit more work from Gething, get himself just entrenched in the fight just a little bit more. Yaxley's just working that little bit harder, don't you think?
Well, I mean, both guys, I think Ciaran Gething is almost being forced to work at a higher pace. I mean, can he keep it going for 10 rounds? I mean, how we've actually got the score so far, Rich?
I don't think that Ciaran will thank me for this, but I've actually got him a round down. I think the 2nd round and the 3rd round were relatively close. You could have scored it perhaps for either one, depending upon what you're looking for. But ultimately, what I was really looking at was the work rate of Yaxley. And Gething, when he does score, he scores quite big. But, you know, I'm just not sure it's enough to be edging the rounds.
And just to note for our viewers, they're the unofficial scorecard of Richie Garner, trainer and manager. His scorecard has no result on the contest.
Thank God, yeah, I'm not sure it's entirely reliable.
But I think it's just an indication of how close a contest it is.
Oh, it's an incredibly close contest. I mean, both boxers really go in for it. Yaxley's been hurt quite badly twice. I mean, it's a long way to the final bell, and I think that Ciaran's just being very, very careful he doesn't blow himself out. Yaxley hurt in the 1st, hurt a little bit in the 2nd. What I'd like to see Ciaran do is just roll underneath Yaxley's jab a little bit and come up with a big left hook, because I think those are the kind of shots that were causing him to feel it a bit and put a dent in Yaxley.
Yaxley dropping his hands now, they're round by his waist.
Yeah, he's trying to fire that jab from his waist. He's just firing it upwards. I maybe throw the right hand in over the top, just get your distance, just touch with that jab, and then throw that big right hand over the top from Gething.
I'm not sure there's markings over the right eye of Ciaran Gething, is it? I'm not sure if it's just a shadow. You're caught by another jab there, Gething.
Yeah, I don't think he's got too much by the way of being marked up. Ciaran doesn't usually mark up too much in any event. I mean, he's had a distinguished amateur career, and he's quite experienced in the pros now. I don't think he's ever been hurt too much, marked up too much. He's looking pretty good in there. I think I'd just like to see a bit more work from him and get those shots off. Use that jab as a rangefinder. Maybe work a bit harder on the inside. I mean, he's stepping in. Perhaps he's just looking for that big shot all the time, because now he knows he can hurt Yaxley. Perhaps he's just looking for that big shot all the time. I mean, he used the jab as a rangefinder there, threw the right hand over the top, but the Yax was always moving, away from that shot, but he gets caught with one right there.
Boxers standing in the middle of the ring, trading shots. The crowd all around us going wild.
Yeah, Yaxley actually took a big shot there, seemed to stumble a little bit, but rather than getting back on the jab and staying on the back foot, he's decided to stand and trade with Ciaran. There's been very little since that little exchange, but they're back at it now.
Yaxley looking for that right hand again.
Yep.
He's been
Just
encouraged
feinting.
by his corner to push forward.
Feinting with the left and trying to score with a big right. Nothing really catching Gething cleanly though.
I don't think those 2 jabs just landed there, thrown from the waist.
Last 10 seconds coming up. Gething needs to do something, or I think Yaxley has just edged this round again. And over to the indomitable figure of my good friend, Dewi.
I mean, Richie's got Yaxley a couple ahead. Dewi, how are you seeing it?
I've got a dead square. I gave Ciaran Gething the first and the second rounds, Yaxley the third and the fourth. I think that fourth round is kind of how Yaxley's corner will want him to fight the fight, being a bit quicker on his feet. But there are still moments where he's up close, he's trading, his chin is high and his hands are low. And they're the moments that Gething took advantage of early on. They're still there now for him, but Yaxley, in between that, is just managing to take the play away from him with his quicker feet.
I think what Yaxley's doing now is working things behind his jab, whereas earlier in the contest he was a bit reckless jumping in, and Ciaran Gething almost caught him as he jumped in. Whereas now the pace is slowed a little bit, seems to be suiting Yaxley a little bit more. Although the fact, obviously, you and Richie both know your boxing inside out, and the fact you can't agree on the scorecards should tell the viewers what type of fight this is.
Yeah, there's no clear winner, and I don't know if it's coming across on the cameras the same, but it's an absolutely electric atmosphere here.
Ciaran Gething just shook his head there as shots from Yaxley just fall short. Ciaran Gething boxing behind a really tight guard. Just brings his hands up to the side of his face every time he closes the range, as Yaxley's defence is loose. Ciaran Gething's got former world champion Gavin Rees in his corner for this contest. Very experienced fighter and trainer. Been there, done it all as a pro. Ciaran Gething being encouraged to let it go.
Certainly a slower pace to this round so far.
Ciaran Gething implied in the build-up to this contest that it would be the later stages of the fight where he would win it. He implied that he'd been in the deep waters before, whereas Sean Yaxley had not.
Heads coming together there.
Come on, let's go, let's go!
I think it's been an intelligent switch of tactics from Yaxley.
Nice right hook from Yaxley.
Just the way he's relaxing on the back foot now, his weight is on his back foot as well, and he's got Ciaran in that crouch, slowly coming forward, and Yaxley's speed of foot has been able to take advantage.
And while it is a risk throwing that jab from the waist, it does seem to be working. It's landed a lot more as the contest has gone on.
And of course, against the high guard, you won't see that shot coming from such a low angle.
And it's Sean Yaxley now who's using the ring, moving around the outside of it. And there we see that jab again.
Let him go now! Let it go, let our left hook go!
Sean Yaxley moving down the wing and then waiting for his moment to plant his feet to land his shots.
Let's go!
Is Ciaran Gething looking a little bit frustrated in this round, do you think, Dewi?
Yeah, he's a step
Oh,
behind,
lovely
isn't he?
right hand.
It is certainly Yaxley's feet that are making this round relatively easy to score. He's a step or two ahead, picking away with his jab, and able to evade anything that's really come his way in this round. That's 5 rounds down as well, and this fight is flying by.
As Ciaran Gething goes back to his corner, he salutes his fans. What sort of advice do you think Gavin Rees is giving Ciaran Gething in the corner at the moment, Dewi?
I know we keep going on about the feet, but I think he needs to speed his feet up. Yaxley is on the back foot now, but he's comfortable there. Ciaran Gething needs to get him to the edges of the ring and keep him there. The thing that's going to go against him here is the size of the ring. It's a 24-foot ring. It's enormous. So there's lots of space for a natural counter puncher like Yaxley to play with. I think Gething in the first 2 rounds was able to take advantage of Yaxley coming into trade. And the distance between them almost didn't matter in those moments. It does now.
Into the 6th round of what's a very close contest. Is Sean Yaxley from North Wales just starting to pull away. Yaxley's his output, although we don't have the stats here to hand, his output has actually probably dropped as the fight has gone on, but the shots he's landing are standing out, and he's preventing Gething from landing his shots just with his clever footwork.
And there is the element here as well, Ciaran, that we're literally in Ciaran Gething's hometown. His house is a mile away. Probably walk to the arena today. A lot of his friends and family here. He co-promotes this show with Shadowbox Promotions. And you never want to take it for granted that, you know, although you think you're outboxing a hometown boxer, we know how boxing is.
And I'm glad you touched on it there, Dewi. I mean, as you mentioned, Ciaran Gething's been heavily involved in promoting his fight alongside Mo Pryor. I just wonder whether he was too involved or has been too involved. It's very stressful promoting boxing with all the other things that go around it, all the things that happen in the background while training for a big title fight as well.
Yeah, I agree, especially at this level as well, where, you know, we're at the grassroots small hall level. Usually, you know, promotions are working with a small amount of staff to pull everything together. Ciaran's a very ambitious man. You know, he should be commended for bringing, you know, a really meaningful fight to Wales, an all-Welsh fight as well. But, you know, it's no easy task at all.
Both
to do that and prepare for a fight.
And let's be honest, Ciaran Gething could have probably fought anyone tonight and had a good crowd here, but he's chosen to fight a really tricky, difficult opponent in a 50-50 fight.
Ciaran's talked about in the build-up that he only sees himself having 1 more year in boxing, and he doesn't want to waste any time with, you know, with any safe fights. He wants fights that people will remember. And I think so far so good. This is a fight people will remember tonight.
Yaxley just getting warned for the elbow. I don't think it's anything deliberate. Oh, it's a good looping right hand from Gething. Yaxley was moving away, so I think he took the sting out of it.
Let him go now! Come on, Ciaran! Let him go!
This mobile style of Yaxley is proven difficult for Ciaran Gething to pin down.
Should be noted as well, what a good win this would be for North Welsh boxing. A year ago, Jerome Warburton came down underdog against Morgan Jones for the Welsh middleweight title. Pulled off the upset, great win. He was an amateur stablemate and an early pro stablemate of Sean Yaxley. And this win would be just as big, if not bigger.
Yeah, definitely would be a huge boost for boxing in North Wales, which has probably been the shadow of boxing in South Wales for many years, it's fair to say. What sort of advice do you think Yaxley's getting here in the corner? More of the same, I presume?
Yeah, but definitely more of the same. The corner seem, you know, pretty happy and pretty content with what he's doing so far. He's recovered from a bit of a torrid start. Should be commended for that.
All I would say is every round is crucial in this fight, I think. We've seen it so many times in boxing where a boxer thinks they're winning, or the corner thinks they're winning, and they've taken their foot off the gas, maybe given the last round away, and it's cost them the fight, or whether it ends up a draw, or sometimes even a loss.
Yeah, and we're soon to be. Yaxley's done one 8-rounder in the past. but never been beyond that. So the 9th and the 10th in the Celtic title fight being the championship rounds. That's where Gething thinks he'll prevail.
Nice right hook to the body from Yaxley. Gething's his feet just don't seem quick enough to close the distance and keep him within punching range.
No, I would say though, I think Yaxley's standing a lot closer this round than he has for the last few.
I wonder, is that by choice or is that just because he's feeling the pace of the fight?
Let it go.
I do think Gething is stepping across him when he circles. We saw in the last round that looping right hand was a result of Gething trying to step across him as Yaxley circles away. But to answer your question, it's probably a bit of both, isn't it?
I mean, Yaxley's using his feet so intelligently in this fight. But remember, we are only watching this from one point of view here at ringside. Oh, nice jab from Yaxley. The judges might be seeing something different.
We've got the crucial difference between World title fights and Celtic title fights is instead of a scoring referee, we've got 3 scoring judges at ringside.
I mean, any title fight I think should have the 3 judges, but that's a debate for a different day.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of Welsh title fights that should have had 3 judges.
Let's go.
Gething misses with a hook. And now Yaxley's cornermen are telling their fighter to push forward.
Yeah, and he does need to take advantage because whilst he is avoiding Gething's work, he's never, in this round at least, he's not really made him miss. He's not really made him pay.
Yeah, there's not much landed really. I mean, Gething might even be winning this round just from work rate.
Yeah, he's chipping away slowly.
And Yaxley is just flying across the ring like an ice skater, isn't he?
Yeah, a couple of laps in this round. I think this is one of Sean's more negative rounds of the fight so far. The movement earlier that we saw had a number of jabs, before, during and after it. With this round, we've just seen him skirt around the outsides for the majority of it.
Let's stay the world.
This, once again, not an easy round to score. And Gething landed a couple of jabs. That could have been a Gething round. And just going to bring in Richie Garner. Richie Garner, trainer and manager. How are you seeing this fight, Richie?
To be honest with you, you can see that Yaxley's had a little bit of success early doors, and I think that he's stolen a couple of rounds, and I think he's just trying to keep it long now and try to steal the fight by making sure that he keeps Gething on the jab long term and just tries to close it out, nicking the odd round here and there and perhaps stealing a close points decision. How about yourself?
I mean, I'm not scoring it round by round, but just up until the last round, I was getting the impression that Yaxley was winning the fight. But I mean, Yaxley used a lot of energy there, just moving around the ring without ever stopping to throw shots.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, it does. He has expended a tremendous amount of energy, making sure that he worked the outside of the ring. And let's just see now if he's got the stamina to close out these last 3 rounds.
I mean, how have we got it on the cards now, Rich?
I've got Yaxley 1, maybe 2 up. Gething just needs to close that distance, and when he does, he needs to go to work. If Yaxley's got a choice, then he can hold or he can engage. And you can see that he doesn't want to engage because when he has in the first 2 rounds, Gething's hurt him. And if he holds, then of course it puts the referee in a position whereby he's got to make some decisions.
So still all to fight for. Was a good shot. Both fighters loaded up in hooks there.
Absolutely, yeah. Great uppercut on the inside from Gething, and Yaxley returns with a left hook as he comes out.
Both fighters similar age. Ciaran Gething 29, Sean Yaxley 27.
It would be lovely if, now that he's just sat in the pocket a little bit more, Yaxley, Gething engaged a little bit more and really let his hands go.
Oh, nice right hand from Yaxley.
I think Gething was more caught with his feet together there than actually hurt, but Yaxley is definitely stepping on the gas a little bit, working the jab a little bit more, letting his right hand go. But, Gething's responding in kind.
I think Yaxley's cornermen must have read him the riot act in between the round because he's fighting with different tactics. in this round. He's more aggressive, he's planting his feet. He's actually trying to force Gething back.
Yeah, he's definitely planting his feet a little bit more. I mean, when he was, as you say, when he was on his bike and he was using the corners of the ring and sliding along the ropes, they were actually screaming for him to come forward then. So, you know, I think perhaps they think that their man has got the ability to deal with Gething, but he gets caught marauding forward then with a lovely left hook from Gething, and he's punished a little bit for his aggression.
And there was a little shake of the head from Gething. That was a good body shot from Yaxley though.
Yeah, right hand over the top. And he's looking to score with that right again. Oh, Gething,
lovely
little combination, yeah. Two three-punch combination, all uppercuts on the inside. Nice scoring shots from Gething there.
Oh, lovely right hand from Yaxley. Snaps the head of Gething back.
Gething going back in a straight line, leaves his chin up in the air. And of course, Yaxley enjoyed throwing that right hand down, and he's caught with a jab as well.
Yaxley's fans to my right-hand side are going crazy, along with Yaxley's cornermen.
Gething needs to slip under that jab and throw the left hook over the top, because when he sometimes throws the jab, he can sometimes drop that right hand to chest level. He just needs to roll underneath that jab, come up with a big left hook, catch Yaxley when he's leaning backwards.
He's put a lot into this round, Sean Yaxley.
He certainly has, yeah.
The most aggressive he's been for quite a while.
Left hook over the top again from Gething. Doesn't really trouble Yaxley, to be fair. Last 10 seconds here. Yaxley's looking to expose Gething on the ropes and maybe just close out the round well. Very close round, quite even. How have you got that, Ciaran?
Another excellent round. I mean, I'd give up to Yaxley if I was scoring it. I think he just landed the better shots. He was the more aggressive.
Widening the margin a little bit, and of course I'll pass over to my good friend Dewi.
Ciaran Gething breathing very heavily in the corner, as you'd expect. I mean, it's been a frantic pace to this contest. Another close round there, Dewi. I mean, how did you score that one?
I thought it was very close. You're right, Ciaran. I think the standout moments where the biggest difference was made was those two straight right hands from Yaxley. Going into the 9th round, I've got him 2 rounds ahead, 77 points to 75. But there's been, let's be honest, there's been a couple of swing rounds in there as well. So
and a lot as well. I mean, it could come down just to how you score a fight. I mean, if you favour several heavy shots, if you think that scores more than 10 jabs, for example, then you probably score the fight for Yaxley.
Yeah.
If you favour the more jabs, you probably go for Gething.
Good start to the round from Gething.
And this is the time of the fight where Ciaran Gething felt that he'd start to take over. This is where he thought he'd be able to take Sean Yaxley into deep waters.
Sean Yaxley never previously been past the 8th round. This is effectively, you know, uncharted territory for him. Not to say he can't do it, but he's not done it before.
This is the first time under the lights, as they say. Lovely jab from Yaxley.
That jab's been a real weapon as well, hasn't it? We've seen on the undercard boxers use their jab, but you know, just to touch the distance, just to find the range. He actually snapped it at points in this fight. It's been a weapon for him.
And he's thrown it now from the shoulder as opposed to from the waist, which he was doing earlier as well. A couple of jabs and a hook drives Gething back.
I think more off balance than hurt, but you get the sense, you know, Ciaran's creeping forward now, Ciaran Gething, and I think he feels like he might have to take more risks here.
He actually circled off the ropes, lovely back into the centre of the ring. Fighters standing just in front of our commentary position, trade-in shots. A big cheer goes up from the Yaxley fans. He's brought the real army down from Ruthin in North Wales for this contest. 130 odd mile journey down through mid Wales. Yaxley's hands again drop into his waist. That jab of Yaxley is a brilliant weapon. You can see just waiting for his moment to fire it up as Gething commits himself.
You can equally see
There, he's just waiting for it. You can see it. Sorry to interrupt you there, Dewi.
No, that's fine. Just saying, you can equally see, with 9 rounds in, and they're both very alert. They don't appear to be fatigued, and they're still thinking their way through this fight. But we've got one left to go.
Richie, sum up before we go into this last round. What things are, who you see is winning it, and what each fighter's got to do. Quickly.
Sorry, Ciaran, let's go again.
Yeah, can you just sum up what each fighter has to do to win this contest going into this final round, briefly?
I thought that Yaxley looked really good in that round. He's far more willing to engage, far more willing to go toe-to-toe with Gething. I think Gething now probably needs a stoppage. He won't thank me for that. We're here, we're in Abergavenny Market Hall, we're in front of his home crowd. He's the home fighter, but ultimately I think Yaxley's just outworked him a little bit. Some of the better quality work has come from Gething, but for me it's just not quite enough. How do you feel?
I agree with you, but I also feel that it's really close. The margins are very close, and what you like is, it depends what the judges are looking for.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And if you're looking for aggression and the meaningful shots, then of course you're going to be scoring for Gething. And if you're looking for the smarter boxing, some crisp shots from the outside and controlling things with the jab, then of course you're going to be scoring for Yaxley. But it's definitely been an interesting contest. It's definitely got the imagination of the crowd roused, and I think that Yaxley's crowd have been exceptionally vociferous, and they've certainly thrown their all behind him.
Yeah, these two Welsh warriors have put an amazing fight up tonight here in Abergavenny Market Hall for all these fans. A great atmosphere.
Yeah, to be fair, there's great support for both fighters. What I want to see is absolute commitment going into the final rounds now, and we really want to see who wants it. Great shot from Gething there, literally just flushes against the whiskers of Yaxley, and if that had landed clean, it'd be interesting to see where that would have taken him. I think just working in behind the jab, just using it as a rangefinder.
There's that jab again from Yaxley.
Nice jab from Yaxley again, firing it from his waist, and here it comes again.
I think as the fight has gone on, that's been the weapon that's stood out the most, and there we see it again.
Absolutely, jab for jab there, but Yaxley's is a bit more crisp.
It just seems when Yaxley's jab lands, you can see the physical effect on Gething. It's like he moves his head.
Yeah, he's pushing him back a little bit. He's a bit more crisp, bit sharper with the jab, definitely. Gething using his jab more as a rangefinder than an instrument to cause damage,
But Ciaran Gething, to his credit, he's fighting right to the very end. Still trying to get the victory.
Little touches, little feints, and of course nice left hook there as Yaxley just spins off the ropes. Looking for that left hook again. Yaxley keeps firing that jab from his waist, catching Gething. And Yaxley takes the opportunity as Gething pushes him back towards the ropes just to hold and push him back, just walking back. Which is of course the right thing to do against, a fighter like Ciaran who's going to want to work on the inside.
Sean Yaxley now, his hands back down by his waist.
I'd love to see what happens if Gething did fire one of those big left hooks and catches him nicely, because Yaxley's chin is hanging nice and wide. He's gulping in air as he throws his shots. If Gething just manages to score one of those left hooks, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Gething keep on putting the pressure on.
Yaxley on his bike again, using the ropes, literally using every square inch of the ring.
Last few moments of what's been a great contest. Gething is showing his frustration with the tactics from Yaxley. And there's the final bell.
Final bell, very close fight. I think Yaxley's just stolen it.
Thoughts on the result of this one, Dewi? It's very close. Did Yaxley just do enough?
It is very close. I think Yaxley edged it. Wouldn't be a howler either way, to be honest, but I think after a torrid start, I think he did really well to recompose himself, take the play away from Gething for large spells in the middle rounds. But like I say, you know, there were several rounds, as we mentioned earlier, that were sprint rounds. You wouldn't be surprised if they went the other way.
And great to see the respect between the fighters after a hard battle. Both boxers are going around the ring saluting their fans.
And it's been, you know, let's give credit to the crowd. We've had 2 strong sets of fans here, but it's been in the spirit you want it to be in.
Yeah, really good natured atmosphere here. Both fans getting really behind their man, but no hint of trouble or animosity.
I don't think anyone can get too angry when you've got Brandon Scott running around as Wolverine.
Yes, Brandon Scott, the infamous Brandon Scott, making a cameo appearance on Ciaran Gething's ring walk. These are the nervous moments for the boxers as the scorecards get collated.
I think we have a result with a result sheet just been handed to our MC for the evening, Ricky Wright.
If you just look at the body language of the 2 fighters now, it looks Yaxley looks the more confident. Not that you can read into that anything at all. And before the result is announced, we both got to say what a really good fight. Credit to both boxers for taking this. Both of them could have gone different directions in their career, but instead they chose to fight each other, put this brilliant fight on for all these fans here tonight.
And you wouldn't argue against a rematch either way, Ciaran?
No, a rematch, definitely, yeah.
But Jamie Evans on the undercard earlier has got one eye on the winner. There are a couple of other boxers around this weight class, but if we saw a repeat of that again, we'd have no complaints at all.
The referee calls the fighters. Ricky Wright is ready to announce the decision.
Reese Carter, 98, 92, and Chris Jones, 96 to 94. All 3 in favour of your winner by unanimous decision. And now your ideal continental and Celtic super welterweight champion, Sean.
Hi guys, just a quick post just to say massive thanks to the MBF charity, the Mahedi Busfia Foundation, for sponsoring the show on July 1st, which we just boxed on, and for helping put on such a good show, and for letting me and Ciaran box for 2 beautiful titles. The MBF charity are starting a project right here in Wales called No Child Left Behind, and it's a project which is trying to help child poverty in Wales and reducing it by 50% by 2028. So a massive thank you to them, and I'm sure it's something we can all get behind. trying to tackle child poverty here in Wales.